Hey everybody, and welcome back to another entry in the Hyrule Compendium.
Feels weird being on this side.
Are you feeling cozy?
Yeah, this is my good
I'm
side.
joined by my guest, Masi Sagopian. So we're back because there's news we had to talk about, bigger than, I don't know, some DLC. We got a new Zelda game coming out this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone knows, but there's the new Age of Calamity.
Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors, basically a follow-up to Hyrule Warriors in a sense.
Yes.
It's basically another Hyrule Warriors game, gameplay-wise, but the little caveat here is that it takes place 100 years before the events of Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Basically the backstory of Breath of the Wild.
Right. So we get to see the world of Hyrule from Breath of the Wild. We see Hyrule Castle in all its glory.
And it's, of course, like a champions game of sorts.
Yes.
Because in the narrative or whatever, Breath of the Wild, the champions have already perished, and we never really saw their demise. So this is kind of their last battle, you know?
So I wonder, are we going to see them lose? Is that the ending of this game?
Maybe. I would hope that there's something. Obviously, I think it feels like this is going to be basically a canon game.
Yeah. My immediate guess is that it takes place 100 years ago, but also in the world of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
There will be a time lapse, and I think you will play
like present day.
Yeah.
I was just thinking they'll probably have some creative way of ending it, you know.
I mean, when you think back to regular Hyrule Warriors, it was all over the map. They did whatever they wanted to, time travel, to different story arcs and whatnot.
Yeah, I think this game is gonna be a little bit more focused on a more specific thing. It's gonna be less all over the place, but I think it will still have some of that wackiness where it's maybe we jump to the present day, like you were saying, and so maybe we get a bit of Sidon and Yunobo, parallel stories or something,
right? Yeah, I would not surprise me if that happens.
Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, they didn't show it in the trailer, but that would be a nice. I mean, they're gonna allow. We're recording this before they said on the 26th. They're probably going to show off a lot more gameplay and stuff. So
right, and also so as of right now, I think we can confirm that the 4 champions, or 5 if you consider Link and then Zelda, are playable.
Yeah.
Right. So we got 6, and there's that baby guardian. Is he playable?
Yeah, cute little guy. Yeah.
But Hyrule Warriors, I think we had 20 some characters that were playable. So you have to assume that more characters will be playable. Maybe the king, maybe has to. But
that'd be cool. I don't think they'll go as all out with some of that.
Okay.
But I do think it could also be similar to how they've done with Cadence recently, a vehicle to do maybe some more things. Here's a side story where you play as here's a Hestu side story, and then
it's
now
got the maracas of doom.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
priceless
he does his dance.
Maracas, I believe, is the
and they could be now that you've done that, if you can go and use him in missions if you want to. But I can totally see them maybe making it a little less wacky. Though I think it'll be pretty wacky still.
Yeah, right.
Because it's the game. The Hyrule Warriors gameplay is kind of a wacky style.
So when they first announced this, were you excited about this?
My initial reaction was oh, that's pretty cool. It's interesting, and I like that it's a specific hook. But I'm not a big Hyrule Warriors fan, so I'll play it because it's interesting, and I want to check out the story. It's not a story that I saw a lot of people say this is necessary because Breath of the Wild story was lacking.
Okay.
I'm I don't care. I like how Breath of the Wild is. I think it could be interesting to add more to the story, but mostly I don't dislike, but I just don't really care for Hyrule Warriors that much. So I'm not I wasn't losing my mind over it, but
yeah,
I did see it and go oh, neat, that's cool.
Right.
I'm glad for more Zelda things. Why not?
I played a lot of Hyrule Warriors, and then Hyrule Warriors Legends came out, and I was excited about the new content.
Yeah.
But I never played it because it was on the 3DS, and I didn't want to start over.
Right.
Because I had 250 hours into it. And then the same thing with the definitive version on the Switch. Never got into it because I didn't want to start over.
Of course, yeah.
So this will be a new game, so maybe
it's probably worth it because you're not having to redo the same levels or whatever.
Yeah, and plus those games they're meant for like such. There's like grinding involved. I'm talking about like the added content. And the main story is pretty straightforward. It's whatever 30, 40 hours or something. But so I'm excited about jumping into that world again a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they do add. I imagine it'll polish it up a little bit and add some new features that were not in the original.
Yeah.
And I know there was new versions in the definitive version that weren't in the original that new abilities and whatnot and new play mechanics.
That's why I kind of hope they don't go like 20 characters or something. I hope like maybe they could put more of. It would be cool if they went more than the 6, but if they could put a little bit more focus on the gameplay with those, like the smaller roster,
right,
and make it a bit more interesting.
Yeah, maybe.
I know you could get in there and like learn the combos and get all the different like people had different play styles, different weapons and stuff, but like to me, you could make it pretty hard, but for me it was kind of mindless.
Right.
Not that it necessarily has to be, but that's how I was playing it. Like for me, the experience would be more enjoyable maybe if it was like it feels very arcadey.
It does.
Like if there was an arcade of it,
yeah.
I would be excited to play it every time I went to an arcade.
Yeah.
Or like alternatively, I played it a little bit on co-op with my brother, and that was a lot of fun because we just both like Zelda and we were just going through kind of playing our characters, mowing down enemies, we're hanging out, so, but like I tried when it came out on Switch, I borrowed your copy and
oh, you did?
Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
I was like, I don't know if I want to get it, but I'll play a little bit, and I played 6 levels or so, and I was like, it's fun. I get why people like it, but again, not for me. So
yeah,
but maybe like I said, the story. I think it's more. I liked the kind of wacky fanfic kind of story that they told in the other one,
and it had a unique like art style, and there's like the voice acting was new at the time.
I like that, but I do think it is interesting to make it like a specific, like tied to a specific era of time related to another game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something I feel like I need to see, but I am interested by it. So like that could be enough to like, even if I don't love the gameplay, to kind of like push me through it, like see like, okay, what's happening, like what's the story here, it would be kind of disappointing if it just, they just all die in the end. It doesn't like it could be that, and it would be fine for a lot of people if it did just like show more than what you get from the memories, but I would like it to I guess shed some more light on things, or like maybe tell a new type of story within that same framework.
Yeah, that's what I think they could jump ahead, and maybe they have like Teba and Sidon and some of the new champions like in a time lapse 100 years later, and they join the fight or something.
Yeah, that was kind of like moments I liked in Breath of the Wild. Like I loved when Daruk saw you look down on Yunobo and saw him and was like,
"It's my
nice
boy."
Yeah. So I think if you kind of maybe you could tell a story about the lineage or something like that.
One thing I'm a little worried about actually is when Hyrule came out, I loved the reimagination of some of the classic enemies, the bosses in particular. Mm-hmm. I loved seeing like Manhandla.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
There's the giant king, Dodongo. Mm-hmm. What else was there? Was there? There was Goma.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. They had a lot of the Zelda 1 enemies. Yeah,
and I think like so because in my opinion, Breath of the Wild suffered from like not having that much diversity in terms of its enemies, and I see it in the trailer. We're just gonna get a lot of Bokoblins, Moblins. We saw some Chews, some Lynels. Mm-hmm. Like is everything known what we're gonna see? Are the bosses gonna be the Blights?
Right. I wonder. Part of me hopes like I know like because it's still sort of even though it could be like a mainline canon game, like it's still a spin-off.
It's a spin-off
game.
Let's not confuse anything here.
Right. So I don't think they're gonna like put too much stock in it from like a story or lore perspective, but it could be cool if they like did set up small tidbits to like tease you about the next game, you know.
Yeah.
Like maybe include some minor elements that
I think the whole game should be like remember that PT, the playable trailer?
Yeah.
It's like the whole game, it's actually just a you know, at the end of it, it's an
ad for
Silent Hills.
Yeah.
This is just an ad for Breath of the Wild 2. The game just opens up into it's an elaborate 30-hour trailer.
Yeah,
playable trailer.
There's been plenty of times where like for a movie or like a game or anything, like it's not necessarily a game always, but like I've seen plenty of like stuff where it's like we released this like side movie or comic book or something that's meant to like kind of get you excited about it, but it's not like required, you know.
Yeah.
So what I guess it's kind of a hard line to follow, because it's like that's why I said I want them to kind of do a new story, like type of story in that, because just the idea of like seeing how they fall doesn't necessarily seem interesting to me, because they can't. I feel like they're kind of limited in that aspect. So,
right.
You know, obviously they're gonna do that, but hopefully there's something interesting they can do along the way. But mostly, I guess, at worst, I think it'll probably just be seeing that with some, you know, fun action gameplay in between, which isn't the worst either. You know, it's not like like I said, I'm not putting too much stock in it either. I'm like interested though. I think it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. I was sort of thinking, and I sort of mentioned to you the other day, going off of a long time ago when we talked about cadence. I think it's just cool from the perspective of like when they announced cadence, we were like, that's cool that they're like letting an indie developer use the property to make like basically its own Zelda game,
right?
But like in a different genre. And now, you know, they did that with Hyrule Warriors too. It's not an indie, it's Koei Tecmo or whatever, but they're letting them make like what seems like a story that's like, you know, in line or canon with this other thing. So it's like, I think Nintendo is being a little bit more trustworthy with like other people with their properties. So it again makes me think about the future of Zelda. Like, could we see more companies getting in on this?
I feel that it's taking on like what Super Mario Brothers has done before, where for the longest there was the regular Mario like series, and then they made like, you know, Paper Mario,
right?
And now like, is Paper Mario part of the Mario franchise, or is it its own series a little bit? Like it's own sub-series. Yeah. I feel like
Hyrule Warriors is becoming that a little bit.
I think Hyrule Warriors is going to be with us forever now. Like there will be a Hyrule Warriors in 2026 or something. Like
that's what I'm hoping with all of it, because I personally love cadence. So and the fact that they got to do a DLC is cool. So I'm thinking like that might become a series. And then like now like Breath of the Wild also is like its own new type of Zelda game. So I'm hoping we'll see. You know, now we'll see some more of the 2D type of games and some more of maybe the classic 3D. You know, maybe we'll see different types of Zelda games or something.
Like we've always had like sort of different types of Zelda, but now I think it's like really branching out.
Yeah.
Like there's sub-series within the series now.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
And I don't know how I feel about that, but like more Zelda's still okay. Like I don't know. There's just going to be more Zelda games, I think, at the end of the day. Because it's not... You know, we're gonna you get a Hyrule Warriors, you get a Cadence. There's probably gonna be another one we're not even thinking about. Maybe next year. Zelda Mobile is supposed to come out in I think 2018, right?
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like this is a good way to go about it, because normally people say like, oh, I don't want them to like do remakes or spin-offs because I want them to make new games. But this isn't that. This is like they're letting people who make a different type of game make a different type of game, but with Zelda.
Yeah.
I guess you could make the argument that. I'm sure there might be someone who would just say, well, maybe they should make Zelda games too.
Yeah.
Maybe Nintendo should just get different studios to make like 5 Zelda games at one time.
Like Call of Duty or something. Like,
annualize it. Yeah,
they probably could annualize Zelda if the games were so radically different. It pretty much is at this point.
Yeah.
It isn't like indirectly an annualized
But
franchise.
this is how I want it to be, because I think this is a fun, now it's like a fun release year for Zelda, because you get what seems like substantial Cadence DLC, a new game that's like a different style. Hopefully Breath of the Wild 2 is within the next year or two, hopefully.
Right.
And, we just had the Link's Awakening remake. So we're like, that's what I like, because you get even stuff that I'm less excited about, like Age of Calamity is like, at least it's different,
Right.
They're not just like giving you the same thing and it gets tired,
Yeah. And they did a good job of waiting to announce this too. Like, cause it's not, this is not something we're going to be talking about for 6 months. And then it's coming out. What was it?
November 20th. So.
Yeah. So we're like 60 days away basically.
Yeah.
So it's right around the corner.
Yeah. That was the perfect, that's just what they're doing now. So that's,
well, I remember previous Hyrule Warriors, it was months and months in advance. And there was a big blowout at E3 and whatnot.
Yeah, I think this is good because, like, there's going to be so many, like, you should come join our Discord, our Zelda Dungeon Discord, because there's so much, all this theorizing and all this chatter and stuff, and, like, that cycle, the hype for that can only last so long, I feel like. And it'll go until the end of this month when they say some more about it. And that'll be fun to like.
Yeah, this will just never stop because this is gonna keep going until the game comes out.
Yeah, and then it's less than by the time they give that info, it's less than a month. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like I think that's like the exact right amount of time basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good year for Zelda. Hopefully next year we got some stuff around the corner.
We're gonna get a lot of stuff next year.
35th anniversary, right?
Yeah.
So,
this is at the end of the day is a game to hold us over. It really is.
They acknowledge too, like they're like, people are still playing.
We're doing. Please wait.
We're working on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So 35th anniversary, right, next year. So, are you excited about this game? Did you like Hyrule Warriors? You gonna play this game again? Is it canon? Let's argue about that. Why not? Leave a comment.
Argue in the comments, please.
Argue in the comments, please. But be nice.
No civility here.
If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, share it with your Zelda fan friends and all that stuff. And thanks for watching.